Welcome to KD Custom Woodworking. I'm Kevin Dunphy. We're getting right to work today. We got a lot of things to do. I have the CNC set up and I'm creating a honeycomb pattern. One thing you'll notice about the CNC, you can only go so fast with the machine like that, and the reason is that bit is only really a 1/4 inch. If I was to go faster, I'd probably snap it off. So I'm at a good speed right here. I'm kind of having it in real time. I'm not really speeding it up that much. And this is where the moldings are going. Right on the both ends of the cabinet, I've decided to make 2 extra plus another 2 because I'm going to make a bookcase at the end of this unit. So it should look pretty cool. Now, I have to do the panels for the door because if you saw back there, the cabinet, I'm going to use full doors, which is first time I've ever really done it, to be honest with you. And so I'm doing my Art Deco panels, cutting multiple pieces. And, you know, I always start out with a border and then kind of frame myself in. Sometimes with the math, you could end up pretty close with some of the elements you put in. But I wouldn't sweat it if you're a little off, if you're trying this out on your own. I think it takes a lot of practice. I'm getting better at it. Make sure when you cut that the saw stop. Don't come up, especially if you have a stop with the blade going. You're going to wreck a lot of pieces, plus it could jam up and cause damage to your saw. So take your time. These cuts go a lot faster than you think. And I used a pin nailer. If you're not familiar with it, Google it. It's one of the best tools you can ever buy. So remember that. Now here I'm using both saws. One I like a little better than the other, and you know, it's really my preference. I'm really trying to save on the walking is what I'm trying to do. And because I got the other one in the back usually set up with a stop, and then the other one's more freehand. Like these outside pieces are slightly different. So that's really it that I can say. It just takes a bit of patience. Now I got my inside frame done, and now I'm going to do the little pieces here, and I'm going to do them one at a time. We're not going that fast now, and I'm doing this on purpose. I want you to get a chance to see how long it takes. You know, make sure you glue those edges. So when it butts in, it becomes one. This is kind of like parquet flooring. I'm a touch thinner than parquet, but I'm a lot thicker than veneer. And there's really almost zero wood movement. I have one at my home right by a propane fireplace, which dries it out. And then, of course, the summer, we're right by the ocean, so we can have high humidity and really minimum wood movement. The only thing is, the critical thing is the plywood. Pick out a good quality plywood. It's getting harder these days because of the situation in Ukraine. You know, we can't get Baltic birch anymore, only from Finland. And Finland, I think, is up to their ears. I haven't even heard of getting any Baltic birch from Finland, so that's how hard it is to get. You know, I'm sure it's probably more Europeans probably can get it, but time it gets to North America, there's probably nothing left. So now I got my pattern. I got kind of a vibe. I put a little notch in there. Not to mimic. I'm not really doing it with a paper or anything else like that. I'm doing it as like a feel. Like, okay, how do I feel today? You know, could it work for every customer? No, a lot of them would probably freak out on this, but it does work, because if I had to draw this out and try to follow somebody else's design, it would be a nightmare. It would probably take so long, you wouldn't be sure. They think it would be okay on paper, but when you go try to do it in real time, it would be very hard. So, you know, just kind of get a feel. It works for me. I really enjoy it, even though I make these ridiculous cuts. I want a lot more detail on that panel than I really wanted to. I didn't want that much detail. I wasn't going to go that deep, and yet here I am. I did a lot. So sometimes, you can get carried away, but if it takes an extra day or two, it's really not going to hurt the budget of this project. And just really, here I'm doing the last corners, and they're slightly different, so I have to almost cut them by hand. So, that's all I really can say. And you can see here that I'm using my CNC to flatten it. If you don't have, well, I know a lot of you don't have the CNC. You don't have the CNC, I know planer, because that's over 25 inches. Not too many people have over 25-inch planer. So the only thing is, I didn't do it on this, but run those pieces, your strips, through the planer so you have the pretty close exact thickness. And you can do this with a belt sander. It's not that bad. It sands pretty good. I'm just making it easy on myself. I don't feel like killing myself trying to sand. So keep that in mind when you're doing this. And the other big thing with it is the glue. I can't stress enough getting it on the edges, even if you have a little too much. Don't worry about it. Wipe it off. And also, when you take the water with the rags, it'll swell up the pinholes. That they become invisible. Rarely do I see one. Rarely do I even have to touch one up. So that's the end result. I didn't show the center panel, but you get the look of it. Here I used wood filler with a grain filler. I didn't do it on the first one. We did the kitchen, but on here I wanted it filled. I don't want to be putting all that clear coat and everything else. The only reason I didn't do it on the other one was because I wanted the natural color of the grain, and I couldn't get clear, and it turned into a real headache. And there was one I wanted to try, but I didn't try. It was a UV one where the sun hits it. I wasn't confident with it because I didn't know much about it, and I didn't want to have problems with the finishing here because it's really hard to do. So it sanded pretty good. It kept me honest, that's for sure. Here I'm doing the door. These are where the panels are going to be installed. Now sanding, everybody thinks it's easy. Do not just go for those joints. Yes, I'm hitting joints, but go and hit the rest of the wood and bring the joints evenly, because you should be able to feel it. And if you feel a valley, then you spent too much time in one area. So spin it around and sand from a different edge. It really makes a difference, because the way your body is, sometimes you tend to sand in one area, and plus the way the corners is with the orbital, they get it great, but they can leave a little ring. So definitely spin it around and you won't regret it. Now I'm on the back side, and same thing, just keep going back and forth. But even though it's the back, just try to be disciplined. My ridges weren't that bad. There's maybe one that was kind of a little nasty that slipped a bit on the clamp, maybe a little over 16, a little under a 16th of an inch. So, it sounded pretty decent. That's one nice thing about mahogany, or African mahogany, that I really love about the wood. It's that it's such a joy to sand. I could have used different woods there. What I'm going to say out loud, especially in Canada, is there's huge bargains on African mahogany compared to maple. Maple's gone stupid expensive, so has birch. And I would never make it in birch. If I'm going to spend this kind of effort, I'm going to make sure I, use a good quality wood. Now I'm just rotoring the edges because I want them all rounded over. I apologize for the noise right now. I got the heating going. I just walked in, and I got a lot of stuff to do, so I couldn't wait. And I want to record this part and explain what I'm doing. So we have the door here that's going on the cabinet. Now with the door with the panel, it's going to weigh a lot. Needless to say, when the weight goes here, that's going to be, quite a few pounds. If I was to, calculate the torque, or the pounds that have come out there. I mean, you're talking 10 times from the hinge. So I can't take this part lightly, because I gotta get it framed. I'm gonna use regular hinges. There are the hidden hinges that go in there, the pistol ones, but I'm not comfortable with the weight here. There's another one that maybe could handle the weight, and they want something stupid like $280 per hinge. I'm not comfortable with it, so I'm just going to put regular, old school, black ball bearing and call it a day. It's still going to look basic. So I have to take this weight, so I'm going to put this solid piece here. It's about a touch over 1/8 of an inch wider than the door, because it's going to be flush with the door. So I'm going to biscuit it, right? We're going to do this one in magic of science. We're going to go fast speed, all right? I use biscuits here all the way across, and I wasn't shy about the biscuits. This is really a critical piece that kind of is really going to help keep the cabinet straight. Also, take the weight of that hinge to be able to handle it. So just clamp it. You don't have to wait that long. You can wait about an hour, and then you can start gluing it on. Now, this is really the key here. These moldings are really what's going to make that super strong, if I want to use that word super. And here it goes. I'm using the joiner first. Make sure that edge is flat. Then I'm putting it through the planer because I want exact thickness. Because if I end up one part a little thicker than the other, and if I put a bookcase or something else on the other side, it could be V'd and be a lot of trouble. And I didn't want to use table saw. You could use table saw if you couldn't handle that. So if you don't have the planer that can drop deep enough, because that was almost 5-6 inches. So now I'm just smearing the glue on that piece. If you look at the bottom, now you can see how straight it is, because that's what's really going to keep it straight. That little piece that I put on with the bistro, there's no way in hell that's going to keep the door straight enough to install it or hold it. Now I'm just lining it up. I'm kind of feeling it a bit. I go right where the curve is and kind of bring it back. I got a little line in the back to kind of keep me honest, make sure I don't install this too crooked. And as always, go easy with your clamps, because it will slide, guaranteed. If you go too much pressure on one time, it's kind of like just go easy, bring it through. Now, what I'm going to do on the back is I'm going to add a piece of plywood there and kind of double it up a bit. I want extra strength there for the install, and I want something, so I have 1.5 inches, because on the hinge side, when I go install this, I'm going to put a piece of laminate on the back there and even make it stronger, because I cannot have that side move with the hinge of the door, because that's a lot of weight. And I just use drywall screws. I love them. I use the number 6. They're just keep it clamped down. Even if one snapped, it wouldn't be a big deal. I got so many in there that why don't I use wood screws? Because at the top, sometimes in plywood, they don't grab very well. As they say. Okay, I did it. I'm very happy here. I don't know if I get the camera to come in here. I'm exactly a touch over 1/4 inch here, so I can have 1/8 and 1/8. I have the frame almost as perfect as you can be in wood. Because remember, I'm going to say this once, wood's not like metal, like, you're sanding and it breathes, it moves, and anyways, I got a lot of tension in here. I'm very happy the way this turned out. So now I got structure. I'm more than comfortable. I was a little wishy-washy before this thing being able to hold the hinges. I mean, so stoked now, it's not even funny. Like, that's one thing about woodworking. If you ever, keep pushing yourself. There's nothing like when you make something and you're not sure, and then when it comes together, you're like, yeah, I got it. So that's it. Be true. Next week we're going to finish the rest of this. I got the other one to do. I was having such a good time with that. That took all day, believe it or not. And this is the hinge. I'm going to put 5 hinges here. They're going to be black. They're going to be fine. I want it to kind of disappear into the wood. All right. The other goodie that we're going to do here is the doors. There's going to be a center speaker here. Really, really beefy, and these are going to be cabinets right here, from here all the way to the bottom. So I'm going to use, I got burl down. I want to use the burl down in the center of the doors. And I think this is going to be like too cool, you know. It'll be perfect to kind of, because this is going to scream a lot. This should take it away. And now I think, I'm hoping that the 85-inch TV that goes in here, it looks normal now. So I want to thank everybody for watching. I was a little light on the content. I just showed a few things. I'll show more things as I go. I just got back to the shop. I was on the road installing. So please subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. I'm going to be locked up in here next week for the whole week doing the rest of this. Let's see how this thing turns out.